Welcome to Rivers in the Wasteland. I'm your host, Amanda Williams, and today I have two stories to share with you as examples of what I call God winks. A God wink is when something happens in your life that is so specific that you can't help but acknowledge that it was directly from God to you. Almost as if He looks down with a wink and says, I got you. I want to encourage you to look for these in your day and celebrate them because they are beautiful testimonies of God's faithfulness, even if they are small and only mean something to you. Today, I would like to welcome my sister-in-law, Beth Alvarez, as our guest. She's a wonderful addition to our family and truly loves the Lord. Let's see what she has to say. Well, hi, Beth. I'm so glad for you to be on here. Beth is my sister-in-law, and can you tell me how many years that has been?
I think we are going on 18 years this year.
18 years married. Wow.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like we are all old enough for any of us to be married that long.
Yeah, I know. I feel so old, but here we are.
Here we are. But you're not old. The other day, Beth and I were talking, and she brought up a story that totally resonated with the idea that I already had for this episode, which, as I said before, was called God Winks. And so, Beth, can you just share that story with us that you shared with me about your self-talk and then what God did later that day to show you basically that you were listening to a lie?
Yeah, for sure. So this happened at some point last year, and it was just one of those days where I was just feeling so down about myself. And when it comes to self-talk, I can so easily spiral into negative self-talk, as I think we all can at different times just because we're people and human. And I was just having one of those days where it just felt like nothing was going right. And I felt like I wasn't being a good mom, and I was feeling inadequate at work, and just, the thoughts and the feelings just started spiraling. And I wasn't necessarily having like a prayer time or anything like that, but just in my day, I was just like, man, Lord, I just feel like a loser. I was like, and obviously God knows all the thoughts. And so I didn't really need to explain anything because He already knows all of that.
Yeah.
But I was just like, Lord, I just feel like such a loser because nothing's going right and, all this. And so then I just kind of moved on from it and just, you try to just take a breath and move on throughout your day because you still have to keep on going and doing the things.
Right.
And then later on in the day, like several hours later, I was just on my phone and scrolling YouTube of all places, as one does.
Yeah.
Just mindlessly scrolling. And I came across it wasn't a video or anything, but as I was scrolling, I came across it was a picture, and then it had text overlaid over this picture. And it said, "You are not a loser," and it was underlined, and it said, "You are chosen," and that word was underlined. So loser and chosen were both underlined. And it was one of those things, I'm scrolling, and then it just like stopped me in my tracks. And just knowing that I had said that exact thing hours prior, just to the Lord, and I just knew instantly that that was a word for me and from the Lord, and I was so grateful to have it. And then obviously when the Lord speaks, it just changes your perspective immediately. And so then I was just able to have such a better outlook and just then able to kind of course correct my thinking.
Right.
And instead of going down this path of just super negative self-talk and feeling inadequate and feeling like all these lies that like the enemy would want you to believe, just hearing that word from the Lord just made me just so feel seen and heard. And then I was just able to move forward and change the way I was talking to myself.
That's so important. That is so cool. I just love when things like that happen, when you're just like, oh my gosh, that was for me.
Yes.
That was totally for me.
Yes, absolutely.
And what do you feel like, if you feel like someone else is in that moment of having that negative self-talk, like after having that experience, what do you feel like you could offer someone else who maybe has a similar habit or pattern of that spiraling? What would you, and how would you encourage someone in that?
Yeah, I would say obviously take it to the Lord for one. And kind of with my story, I think I wasn't even like in my mind, it wasn't like I was sitting down to have a prayer time. It was just in the midst of my day, just a cry to the Lord, just real quick, like, Lord, I'm feeling this, like, I need help. And I didn't even say that, but like the Lord knows what we need. Yeah. And so I think for one, just reminding yourself, like, just the Lord is there, and to reach out, just like our kids reach out to us when they need help. Jude, he got a watch for Christmas, and he's been having some fear in the night. And so he will send a text message in the night and just says, I need you. I'm scared. And so what do I do?
Precious.
I come right up and I reassure him and I help him get through it. And isn't that just what the Lord does to us when we're like, Lord, I need help. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling afraid, or I'm feeling inadequate, or I'm feeling worthless, or whatever. Yes. And isn't that just like the Lord, just as our Heavenly Father, to just reach right out and say, I've got you and I'm with you. And so I think that, and then I also think sometimes we just have to remind ourselves that God hasn't forgotten us. Whatever we're facing, I think that there are times when we're in a season that just feels really hard. And it's easy to think like, man, where's God in this? Yeah. I know I've been through many seasons like that, but he always shows up every time. So I think I think that I would have learned by now, but it just being human, it's like, hello, God has never failed me ever yet. It never will. So I just think reminding ourselves that like God hasn't forgotten, and he sees all the things, even though in the midst of a hard thing, it's hard to see. And sometimes it takes just God like speaking to you so supernaturally to just pull you out of that. And that's what God did for me that day.
Yeah. So I love that, because we can't really wonder, okay, well, what would have happened had you not just randomly said that?
Right.
Because we don't know if God wouldn't have sent that anyways. But it almost makes me feel like God like delighted in the fact that you were just talking to him like a friend.
Right.
And he responded in such an intimate way, almost just as intimate as your just telling him. Like you said, you weren't on your knees praying to the Heavenly Father, right. You were just talking to a friend because you were hurting. And I just feel like his response was just as intimate as your prayer, and met you in just the way that you needed it, because you just were there with him like that. And I just think that that's so neat. And so when I heard that, it encouraged me. It reminded me that I need to just talk to him like he's there with me all the time, because he is. You don't have to overcomplicate it and make sure that it's okay. Well, from 6 to 6:30 in the morning, this is my prayer time before the Lord of the universe. Like, just especially with work and kids and all of the things, like just talk to him like he's riding in the car or sitting in the office, right? Well, in the kitchen while you're cleaning up for the 17th time that day.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. That is so encouraging. And I bet that anybody who hears that first can relate to you feeling like a loser. I feel like we all, at some point, felt like that. And I think that it is so good to just be real about those things and know we shouldn't go there. But like you said, we're human, and the Lord is never too annoyed to come back and be like, all right, girl, come on. We've been through this, but no, you are chosen. You are amazing. You're wonderful. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. And I love that he is never tired of reminding us of those things. So
yes, absolutely.
Another thing I love about your story is how detailed it is. I love when God goes out of his way to show us displays of his affection. And I actually have a perfect example of this that happened to me just last year, and it kind of blew my mind. I don't know if you've ever been through a season where you just don't buy a lot of things for yourself, but maybe you spend all the money on the kids.
Right.
You didn't know that. Now, you know your mom, you know how that goes. Any parent can probably relate to that. And that's kind of how I was for a little while. And there was this ring that kept popping up on my Instagram ads, and it's gold, and it has like this pretty stone that's teal and white and orange, and it's just a really beautiful ring. And I clicked on it a handful of times, and I even put it in my cart a couple times, and I never checked out. I just kept thinking, I don't really know if I should be spending money on that right now. I don't know. The kids need all the things, and it's just so hard sometimes to pull the trigger for yourself. So anyways, I never bought it. And I was at church last year, and there was this girl who was always really friendly to me. And she was walking by me one day, and I said hi, and we just started chatting. And I noticed that she was wearing the ring that I kept wanting to buy myself. And so it caught my eye, and I just went, oh my gosh, like, I love your ring. It is just so beautiful. And her face just kind of went blank. And then she started smiling really big, and it was kind of awkward. I was I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, exactly.
She finally kind of snapped out of it and said, I bought this ring at a conference, and when I bought the ring, the Lord told me that someone was going to compliment me on this ring, and that I was supposed to gift it to whoever did. And she just said, it's for you. Like, the Lord wants you to have this ring. And I was just like, what?
Right.
Like, so
super cool.
The God that breathed life into existence and put all the stars in the sky, talked to this woman who was in another state at the time and told her to buy a certain ring because someone that she didn't even know yet was going to cross her path on a day that she didn't even know, and that she was supposed to obey so that way I could get a gift from him. Like, I just... all of those pieces that had to play out perfectly so that he could have someone hand deliver something just for me that he knew I wanted but wouldn't buy myself. Like, I even talking about it right now, it just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Because it just makes me feel so special. Like, how am I that special to the God that has created everything, Right. And so it's times like those when I feel like God is just like up there, like looking down, winking at me, like, I got you. Like, I know that you won't do this for yourself, but I want to bless you. I want to do this for you because I love you so much that I want to show you. I care about you so much that I want to tell you that you are chosen and that you're not a loser. You know what I mean? Like, he had to orchestrate certain things for these two things to even happen. And he do that. He goes out of his way for us.
I think that's super cool. I wonder how long was she wearing that ring? As I'm listening to that story, I'm just thinking, gosh, I wonder if every single day she put that ring on and was like, oh my gosh, is today going to be the day?
It's today.
Like, is it today? Like, she had to have probably worn that every single day.
Yeah.
If she knew the Lord told her somebody was going to compliment that.
Yeah.
And so I'm just oh gosh, just to be on her end, like, oh my gosh, it's today the day. And then when it was the day, it probably blew her mind.
Yeah.
It actually happened.
You could tell it did, because she literally was looking at me like, you're the one.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
You're the one.
Yeah, you're the chosen one.
Yes. Yeah.
That is so cool.
It probably, there's so many sides to it. It probably built her faith so much to know that she did hear the Lord, and then probably made her excited to obey. And then it blessed me so much because it was so special to me. And there's so many sides of it. But so every time I wear that ring, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this is hand delivered to me from my heavenly Father.
Yeah. He just gifted it to you.
Yeah.
Like, how cool is that?
Yeah, it's so cool. It's so cool. So those two stories, they're the definition of what I call God winks, where he's just like up there smiling, winking down at us, doing something that's so specific, that we can't possibly deny that it's from him.
Right. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, this has been fun to have you on.
It's been so fun. I should do it again.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love to have you back. It would be great. It's, a different experience when it's not just me on here talking. So fun. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. And I will, we'll get something else on the books and we'll do this again.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Bye, Beth.
See ya.
Thank you for joining us today. If this episode resonated with you, or if this podcast has been a blessing in your life, please leave a rating or review on your favorite platform. And don't forget to subscribe so you'll be notified of all upcoming episodes. Remember that God is at work today in mighty ways, ready to make rivers in the wasteland. If he can do it for us, we know he can do it for you.